Don't forget to check out the Bias Premier League show with myself, Robbie, and Ty, and
Peace.
Where's Yardy?
Oh, he's not a great loss, man. He's a waste of space.
Is that how you carrying on?
Oh, he can't see me. Yeah.
Well, Yardy will be here, so make sure you check it out. And I want you to tell him that to his face.
Tell him what? I didn't say no. Yardy's my best friend.
Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to a very special live show. Lots to talk about today. It is Friday afternoon, evening. It's 5 p.m. It's evening or afternoon?
Afternoon. After 6 is the evening.
Yeah, right. Obviously, I'm being a bit thick. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Kane.
Hello. Kane. This is not Turkish. I know it says Cecil, James in Turkish. I mean, it could be. No, the beard is not bearding. But we have Kane with us, a Palace fan.
Turkish will be joining us very soon. But this is why we brought Kane on, because we know you well. We've seen you on DR Sports, of course. So anyone who follows DR as well as AFTV will have known you and known you're a Palace fan. But we thought we'd get you on because you've upset a club legend of ours.
A club legend has upset me.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. And we're going to go into all that. We're also going to talk about the European draw as well. Obviously, we're not in it. We were hoping we'd do a live show for the live draw, but there was no point because of Arsenal and their pathetic performance yesterday, especially that second half. But
it's heartbreaking, that is, by the way. I must say, the fact that the draws are just so much fun. Just like, where are we going next?
Well, I think that's what we've got to explore, is who we would have got. I know the butterfly effect, right? A small thing can change a bit, but I think, ultimately Arsenal would have got Juve or Man United. We're going to discuss as well where that would have lined up in the season and do the whole blessing in disguise thing, even though I'm just gutted that we're knocked out of a competition to a degree. So we'll explore that a little bit as well. And then, of course, the lines are open on FANZONE, so you can start jumping on. We won't start taking sort of calls and open it up till about past, so in about 25, maybe pushing it 30 minutes time.
Yeah.
We will get half an hour of chatting to all of you and getting your thoughts and reaction. Obviously, we had some problems with it yesterday. Apologies for that, but we're going to have an opportunity to chat to all of you as well today about yesterday's defeat, how we respond against Palace. And yeah, Palace very much is the theme because of the upcoming game and of course the changes they've made. And we brought in Kane because, okay, I'm just going to hand it over to you. Just as a Palace fan, there is a box-to-box coming out as well, so you're going to get plenty of thoughts on this channel alone on the Vieira stuff. But I wanted to ask you how you feel about the Vieira sacking, how you felt he did as a job, in the job.
Sacking, it's so harsh. I think we've all kind of seen it coming for a while, and we thought international break might be when it happens. Happening before Arsenal wasn't even considered. It's not the decision kind of anyone was expecting. I don't think many people, if anyone, would have wanted it. It's a tough one with Palace where there's so many other issues that Vieira's had his ups and downs at the club, and some of the issues are his fault, some aren't his fault. For me, I think he deserved at the very least the summer and back in the summer. And then if after you've had 2 seasons, you've been backed. Because so far he's been backed properly once out of 3 transfer windows he's had. I think if he had another full summer and you backed him in that and then it went wrong, that's your point where you go, cool. You're a good manager, you're not for us, move on. Doing it now, especially with they've done it almost to boost the kind of chances of survival. I think it's made it worse. Even with the issues, I'm more worried now than I was yesterday.
Could I ask you, Kane, is it a bit too premature? Because listen, I was at Crystal Palace on Monday. I went to the new, it's not new training facilities now, but it's the more improved training facility, and it's lovely. And you got that there. You're in the hub of South London, where there's a lot of talent. Your academy is doing very well. I believe they're second in the academy, in Cat 1 in their academy group. They're very good. They've got good players on the side. I've loved Palace, and obviously Patrick Vieira, him being sacked, sentimental wise, hurts me a little bit. But do you not think it was a little bit too premature, because you got a next run of games as kind of after Arsenal are the teams below you. What you've had before has been quite a difficult run. I don't think you've been too bad. I know you haven't scored many in that time, but you weren't too bad in some of those games.
Yeah, I think the issue, a lot of the reports are saying that the main issue was the not scoring, or not having a shot on target in 3 games, which was a concern. And that's almost that's the one thing that if Vieira was to stay and build in the summer, that's what you've got to focus on. Otherwise, you've had your chance, you're done. It's been such a hard run of games where the form hasn't been great, but we've scraped a lot of draws. You've held a lot of good teams. And ultimately with our spending, we spend like a championship team. To be holding the big 4 it's not a kind of underachievement. I think part of where last season we were playing such high pressing, progressive football.
Yeah.
Out of all the teams in the league, we were one of the better teams to watch. This year, it's been a challenge at time, but it's almost like, right, this is the team we've got, so we have to sit back. We've got to play the boring football to get the results. And now this is the run where he should be kind of having, I think we've got 11 games left. 9 of the teams are below us.
Yep.
That's where he should be given that chance to shine.
And
it's just such a...
It is unbelievable. And you speak about backing, we'll go to expectations as well. You speak about backing, but how many, haven't you got like 3 owners? There's Paris there, you got the American owner.
Hey, we've got 2 Americans who they're money wise, they're not far off what the Cronkies earn.
I heard that as well.
They are like billionaires.
Yeah.
They don't put anything into it. Every big top 6 club goes for sale now. They're linked. Newcastle, they were linked. Man United, they were part of the consortium. Chelsea, they were interested. Liverpool, they're interested. They want out, and they won't put in any money. So it doesn't matter how much money you've got. If it's not coming to the club, you might as well not have him. Yeah. I think they've kind of through COVID, they paid off the debts from that. That's their contribution. That's all they've done. We've got Steve Parish, who's the one who he was involved in saving the club, loves the club.
Yeah.
He's rich, but he's not Premier League rich, and he's been one where he won't put in the money, but he'll put in the London connection and do what's right for the club. But previously, that's been cool. It's great. It's great to have someone who knows London, who knows what the club is about. Now it's a worry because it's some people think that the potential owners are being put off by him having such a small financial stake, but such a big involvement in the decisions. Yeah. It's like no one's putting in billions now or millions for that to have an impact. We've then recently brought in another guy in the last year who was supposed to be kind of the money man in the middle, where he'll fund not extreme amounts, but enough to keep you competing in the Premier League. The guy also owns a Brazilian team. He's just taken over Lyon, and within a year, he's having issues where he can't pay players and all that in his other clubs. So everyone at Palace is panicking, being like, I think he's a fraud pretty much. And there's a worry that in the ownership, the decisions they're making aren't great now. The financial backing isn't there. There's no kind of long-term plan now because we've almost just ripped up 2 years of what Vieira's done. It was great having him come in, bringing the young players. We've got the academy built. It's like there was a long-term plan. So even if he had an average season now, if he's staying up, there's no reason he shouldn't carry on and kind of continue what he's done.
I agree.
Now we're being linked to Roy Hodgson returning.
Yeah, again, I've seen.
Some of the people we're linked to, like Lampard, Gerard Parker. I'm like, there's no upgrades. There's no obvious candidate out there. I mean, even Will Still and his thing with Balogun, it's being taken seriously. And I'm like, cool, I love the trend. I love the memes and stuff about it. You're probably going to be a great manager.
I like Will Still, I can't lie.
Do you know, if Will Still comes, Balogun comes with him.
Aye, whoa. No, he comes back to Arsenal. They can have him for a little bit.
Maybe he signs a new deal and then goes on loan.
Yeah.
The whole Palace didn't have a shot on target for 3 games. And listen, I know that's a really poor stat. It is, of course. But Sporting apparently put in a brilliant performance against us yesterday, had 2 shots on target. Arsenal apparently were really poor, had 9 on target. You know, there's context to all these things. You were playing Brighton away, you were playing Man City at home. You know, it can be difficult to fashion like good quality chances in those games. It is a poor stat, don't get me wrong. But these are, I think, the stats that should be looked at a lot more. And I think hopefully we can get them up on screen here. You're 12th in the table, 12th on 27 points. Sure, there's a lot of teams that are in and around that kind of bracket. Your net spend is 36.4 million, which puts you 15th. So you're performing better than your net spend. Your total spend for the 22-23 season, and I know why you're laughing, is 41.2 million. That puts you 20th. That is the lowest spend and investment into their team
over the last 5 years. They've looked at all the teams that have regularly been in the Premier over the last 5 years. I think our spending, I think the stat was in euros, it's about 150 million euros. It might even be a little bit less. Most other clubs are doing 400-500 million. Like, we literally spend like a lower level championship team. The money hasn't been there at all. Vieira also came in when we had, I mean, our Palace team before, we had Scott Dan, Gary Cahill. Roy Hodgson loved the older, experienced players. It was just full of 35-year-olds that needed to get out. A lot of them are still there, and Vieira didn't finish that transition. But he had such a big task walking. A lot of managers wouldn't go for the job because of it was such a high risk coming into it. You've got an aging squad, all their contracts running out. You've got no money to spend. There's no like big structure to walk into. it was just and I think that's why Vieira took it, where it was almost his first big job in the Premier League. He could take the gamble more than others would be willing to.
Yeah.
And it started to pay off. There were even reports coming out today that in February last season, which was one of our best ever seasons, we had the FA Cup semi-final, league-wise, I think we were 2 points off our best ever finish or something. There are reports that in February they were considering sacking him then, which I think we dipped slightly, and a lot of that's down to FA Cup, but to even consider sacking the manager in a time like that, the plan, I just don't see what the plan is.
But even in this time, the average. So we also had on that graphic the average position of him. Like I said, there is a box to box coming out as well, so check out that. But what do you think you're going to have the typical manager bounce thing, or do you think it's actually going to be more of a hold on? This is just messier than it was before.
I think the owner's hope is they get the bounce. It's kind of a bigger gamble than our owners typically take. Where we brought in the under-21 manager, cool, he knows a lot of them. He was a former player, he played with Zaha. Like, you've got the links there, but a lot of the newer players won't know who he is. They won't have that connection. For me, the only way I can see that they've decided to do it before Arsenal is they hope, right, we give it to the under-21 manager. If he does anything, that's a huge buzz for the rest of the season. It's probably, if he wins or takes even probably a point against Arsenal, that's enough to almost go, right, do you want the job for the rest of the season? Just hold the ship. But the risk of it, I just think is too strong, especially when Vieira's had a record of going to the Emirates, and it was only last season, the 3-0.
3-0 at Selhurst, but the 2-2 at the Emirates.
Last minute,
Your record at the Emirates is brilliant.
It's very good.
Vieira's record against Arsenal in general was pretty good.
Yes.
And it's like, if there's a game where you need your team to get going for you,
Yeah.
Vieira going to Arsenal is the game where, if he's going to kind of inspire somewhere, that's the game.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, before you go on, let me give you one last question. What was your expectation as a Palace fan? Where do you expect to be finishing coming into, when you came into this season, where would you expected?
Before the summer window, I was ambitiously hoping if they make the right moves, you could creep into Conference League. After the window, and we didn't really do much, it was a 12th. Kind of where we are now, but a comfortable 12th, not a, you're looking at relegation with 10 games to go, which is where, normally it's by this point of the season, it's like, right, season's wrapped up, we're mid-table, let's prepare for next year.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Kane, been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you very much. We're going to be joined by Turkish in a little bit, then we'll open the lines for FanZone. I believe we've got an ad to run, so you'll see us very soon. Catch you in a sec.
This week, Saturday, on DR Sports, we're going to be hosting a very special watch-along. It's UFC 286, and we're going to be doing a watch-along to the big fight. It is Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. You've got to come and check it out live here on DR Sports. I'm going to be hosting it with our brand new MMA host, Zaki, who'll be giving you the lowdown on the fight. Yeah, easy, bro.
You ready?
What's all that? What's all this?
You said you're gonna get stuck in.
No, I ain't signed up for that. No.
What do you mean? That's what we. I'm tapping.
There you go. You can check out the big fight and all sorts of content on DR Sports. Go check it out. And we're joined by Turkish. Welcome, Turkish. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. You?
Good. Good. I actually feel bad for Patrick Vieira, man. I honestly think that's as shocking a sacking as I've seen in a while.
Before we just, can I read a super chat, because that backs that as well. James Burris with a super chat says, I feel bad for Patrick as well as James, what you said, but since Palace lost to us 3-0 at Goodison, I felt this might have been inevitable. Getting done by Dwight McNeil isn't good. Turkish, is this a tough one?
Yeah, it's a tough one for him to take. I mean, seemed like he was doing well there, seemed like they was going to give him the time, seemed like he was building something. But there's not many clubs that have the patience. Yeah. But I just wonder what's Crystal Palace's aim? Like where did they want to go? How quick did they want to go there? I don't really get it. Nor did D, who I was talking to from Back of the Nest. That's on Box to Box, coming out soon. I believe it's out tomorrow. He's confused. He was angry about it. I mean, usually Box to Box is a nice, calm conversation. 15-20 minutes. I think this one ran overtime, and he was fuming. He said, it's not just him that feels angry, frustrated, disappointed. It's a lot of the fan base, because it just leaves them with rumours of Roy Hodgson or their current young reserve team manager.
Yeah. But it's like, imagine when the project went wrong under Arteta, and we had that really bad run, which, by the way, I don't think the run Palace are on is anything like what we went on when you look at the expectation and stuff. If we'd sacked Arteta and gone back to Emery just to kind of keep things safe, you know, he's available.
Imagine that. Imagine, you know, bringing back.
You got to be. I didn't think they were under any immediate pressure, Palace. So I'm really surprised by that. But hey ho, it's done now. We want to move our attentions, unless you had another super chat.
Yeah, I got a super chat coming in. Guys, get the likes up. 807 of you in here. Get your likes up.
I've just seen the super chat.
The three of us are here. It's Dave Jordan with the super chat. We all know Dave Jordan super chat.
I'd love to meet him one day.
Dave, if you're out there, sort it out.
Next time you're in North London, let us know.
Yeah.
Dave. Maybe you are in North London. I don't know.
Dave's super chat says, deserve to be sacked, getting legend protection.
So Dave Jordan isn't a fan of Kieran Tierney or Patrick Vieira.
That's harsh though, man.
At the end of his 13th. Like, it was obvious. Like, I was going through it going, they literally have played everyone that you consider to be having a good season in some way, shape or form. And then all the teams that you consider to be struggling, they haven't really faced, except for, I think it was Bournemouth, and that was all the way back in still 2022. I really feel for them. But let's talk, feel for him, for Patrick Vieira, for Palace. I liked what Palace were doing as well. I liked some of the younger players. I liked
they got
Elise, Eze, Gehi, Anderson at the back as well. Like, I thought that
Tariq
Decore,
Mitchell.
There was a lot there. Mitchell, there was a lot there. I was like, this is, you know, the club's going in a really great direction with a good identity. But anyway, they've made their decision. We'll see how they bounce back and how they respond to that on Sunday, and how Arsenal prepare for a managerless Palace. Let's talk about the Europa League draw that we weren't in. And what we do know is that we would have had Juventus in the next round, and that would have, I mean, I always say this, like the whole butterfly effect thing, you know, it wouldn't have been exactly, but Arsenal would have been in Sporting's place, Juve would have been the draw, and it would have been Man United in the semi-finals. That would have been a tough ask. Not that we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But that would have been a very, very hectic Europa schedule. It was already a pretty hellish April, which we're going to go through in a sec.
Yeah, I mean, I know what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the best out of a bad situation, but
yes, we are.
yeah, Juventus and United would have been a tough run to the final.
Also would have been great fun.
Exactly. That's also a point there as well. And it's not guaranteed the draw would have turned out the same had we had been in it.
That's exactly my point. Yeah, exactly.
But you know, are you going to mention the Champions League draw?
Yeah, I want to go through that in a sec. I mean, April would have been, so for the record, if we'd gone through same draw, then like you said, there's no guarantee. Whatever. It would have been Liverpool away, Juve away, West Ham away, Juve at home, Southampton at home, City away, Chelsea at home. That would have been from Sunday the 9th of April to Saturday the 29th of April.
Our away form's been good recently.
It is. But what I do here, and you're right, we're doing the whole let's make ourselves feel better about it and just pretend that actually it's a good thing. But what I do agree with is that okay, a bad thing's happened. Let's look at what opportunity it has opened for us. And that is, and maybe not one we wanted, but that is that we don't have to go into an extremely hectic, difficult, demanding schedule. Because I tell you what's almost worse than going out last night is going out later in the competition when we've done this same kind of exerting loads of energy, but not really, like players playing a lot, but not really still going with our first 11 because we've still got an eye on the title. That for me would have been even worse. And I kind of think any of this is only worth it if you win it. No one's going to sit there and go, that Europa run there.
Yeah.
I'm
Remember
glad,
that?
but
You know what I mean?
I feel that way though. I know that's, and it's probably not the right. We spoke about this before off camera, but I feel like this. I feel like going out in the round of 16 to Sporting, it is mainly my main frustration was performance, 100%. But it's also the fact that for me, there's momentum that needs to be carried, and I think going into an international break, still being in the Europa League and still top of the Premier League would have been perfect for this young Arsenal side. I think, look, if you're right, and you asked me the question, but did you believe generally, Cecil, that you're going to win it? Doing a double, probably not. I think we could get the Premier League, but for me, it's a momentum thing. I think you go straight into coming off the back of the international break, still in the cup competition, still first in the Premier League. There's less doubt in a player's mind. They're more confident going into these games instead of thinking, oh, we're out now. Really bad performance at home. Now everything is on. come this game this Sunday and then going forward as well, you have to, every game was a cup final before, like I spoke about, but now it's even more pressure. I just think it'd have been a bit more tasteful for me, and it's probably me just sentimentally and me just personally, because every time I spoke with fans, they're like, Cecil, don't worry about it, the Premier League's our focus. My thing is, I wanted to go a bit further in, you know, the Europa League. Even if we went out, maybe, I don't know, semis or final, it's like to say, it's to me to think, oh, we've got Champions League next year and we're getting knocked out by Sporting in the round of 16.
So you're more worried about what it says about the readiness of this team for European football and competing on multiple fronts going forward?
Oh, honestly, I spoke about so many different things that are going through my mind. That's one option. That is one reason. There's also, again, the performance side wasn't good enough. So there's that and there's that. But
whenever Cecil's mind is going everywhere, I just think of some of his highlights, and we were talking about them earlier. If you haven't, go check out AFTV clips and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Please don't.
You know what it is for me? I don't think we were ever going to win the Premier League and the Europa League. Now, I'm not going to do the whole context thing. I've spoken plenty of times on Full Time and Forever Arsenal that came out earlier about my disappointment of going out of this competition. I was disappointed. I wanted us to take it seriously for as long as we can, but I always felt there was going to be a trade-off where by the end of the quarter-final, say we'd made the semis, we would have known basically how good we were looking for the title, because City, Newcastle, Liverpool would all have been done.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle would have been done. Maybe not Newcastle.
No, not Newcastle.
Okay, and Chelsea would have been done. So we would almost know coming out of that how seriously we take that semi-final, to how seriously we take the run-in. Now that's kind of been decided for us. Well, it's all on the Premier League. I wanted us to at least for 2 more games kind of see how we did, try and progress. And like you said, the draw might have been different. We could have had Union Saint-Gilloise. We could have had, who I can't even remember who else is in it.
Feyenoord and
Leverkusen,
Sevilla.
maybe. That, again, teams that are good, but you'd expect us to beat. It didn't have to be Juve, Man United. Of course, you know, the Sporting drew them, so it looks like that would have been our path. But I just feel like we were never going to win both. So now I'm just doing the mental gymnastics to make myself feel better of, all right, well, that's no more energy is being wasted there.
Yeah, listen, I guess with it all to play for in the Premier League, you've got to try and look at the bright side. And come the end of the season, if we lift the Premier League trophy, then we'll look back at this. No, we won't look back at this. We won't care about this.
No.
But come the end of the season, if we don't and miss out on the Premier League, then I'll certainly be looking back at this and thinking, this is why I wanted to go far.
It's a funny swing, isn't it? Because you're right. If we don't win it, I'll be sitting there going, that was such a good opportunity for silverware. And I know you don't, hold the Carabao Cup in any sort of way, but I'll even look at the fact Man United just strolled through that with no one to play, thinking we had Brighton at home. Brighton are a good team, but that's the team that knocked us out. I'll be looking at those moments thinking that's disappointing that we went out of those cups so easily when we could have at least had something to show for the season. But if we do win the Premier League, you almost laugh at how you felt for the Europa. If we win it, we'll look back and go, can you believe we even batted an eyelid? Because I tell you what, the teams winning Premier Leagues and challenging for Champions Leagues, they are not thinking for what, but if we're in the Europa, that'd be... Do you think Real Madrid and Barcelona are ever thinking, we know we're not going to win the Champions League, it'd be nice to win the Europa? They're just not. So it's a big swing on that side. Let's talk about the Champions League while we're at it, because we've got Man City's draw as well. And I'm really torn about whether this is a good draw for Arsenal, because we are paying attention to Man City, who drew Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Their run at the moment, from those same time periods we mentioned, the 9th of April sees them go away to Southampton. They never like going away to Southampton, may I say.
Nor do we.
That's true. Bayern Munich at home, Leicester at home, Bayern Munich away, Brighton and Hove Albion away, although that might be changed for an FA Cup tie, which I expect it to be the Wembley semi-final, and then Arsenal. That is their run to that game. What would you guys make of it? I'll go to you, Cecil, first.
I will get onto it. I'm just going to give out these super chats. Jill one with a super chat says, big up Turkish and the Big Six. Cecil, my guy, I got and I'm home now. I don't know what that is, but and then James, tell Lee we love tactical insight.
I will tell him.
There you go. Miles Smith with Suja says, Arsenal knocked out the Europa League. Patrick walks out on Palace, leaving them vulnerable for Sunday. Give him a statue. Okay.
I think quite well that way, but
the running that City have, I mean, it looks favourable for Arsenal to maybe, cause them problems with the amount of games and the focus they're going to be having on the Champions League. And if I'm honest, I believe, I don't know, I speak to a City fan, you have to know from Pep, but I think they have got their sights on that Champions League to try and 100% go for it and win it this season. I think that's their main, for me it feels like it's their main priority. Obviously I don't want to see Arsenal win the Premier League, but I feel like they're going to be very, very focused on that Champions League. But a tough draw against Bayern Munich, I was going through some of the players that they have and I was just like, wow, Musiala's, Gnabry, they've got a stacked team. That's not an easy feat. I saw some of the draw and I was like, this is TV rights written all over it. Like the big teams playing against each other in this stage. But I think that bodes well for Arsenal. I really think it does. Don't get me wrong, City have a good squad. Like, let's not deny that. I think they have a good squad of players that maybe be able to rotate. But looking at that, I think we get the job done, touch wood, at their place. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that game now, knowing that they've got such a tough run ahead of them.
Tough draw for City, and that's a good thing for us. Looking at the fixtures now and the way it leads up to the Etihad fixture, even if you put an FA Cup semi in there at Wembley, it's still way back-to-back away, Munich and then in London. I mean, it's good for us. They definitely want the Champions League. Pep even mentioned in a recent press conference that he mentioned the Champions League when he first come to the club, and they've got a big opportunity for it this year. Well, they've had big opportunities for it every season, it feels, but this season I look at it and I think if they get past Munich, then I think that they should do it. But obviously there's Real Madrid still involved too. And even though they got Chelsea sometimes pull it out the bag when people least expect it as well. So they got the difficult half of the route to the final, and that's exactly what I wanted, because off the back of no Europe for us and pretty much an open run to the end of the season now, 11 games to go, I was looking at the Champions League draw and I was just hoping it's Bayern or Real for Man City, and they got Bayern.
Now let me say that 99% of Twitter and people I've spoken to absolutely agree with you, but I think I'm in that 1% that I wanted them to have a slightly easier draw. Now the reason I say that is because I might be doing too much here, but hear me out. If they beat Bayern Munich and they get through to the semis, yeah, it's going to be very taxing on them. Yes, it's going to be a tough, two legs. But I just think that galvanises them. Like, I just think they go.
But Real Madrid's still in the tie. Real Madrid got Chelsea, and you expect them to.
I'm talking ahead of the Arsenal game. I just think that galvanises them. Like, look what we've just done. We've beaten Bayern Munich, one of the favourites for this competition. We've come through this run. We've got Arsenal. We've got the title now, and a massive game to make a difference there. I kind of think, and then if they get knocked out by Bayern Munich, which could easily happen as well, then it's this is all we've got to play for now. And then suddenly all focus is on beating Arsenal and waiting for that other slip up, or maybe the slip up might have happened by then. I think it's almost it evokes too much emotional reaction, this game, in a good or bad way, that I don't think it benefits Arsenal. Whereas I actually think if they'd got Benfica, they're still going to give their all to go through, because all their focus is on the Champions League, but then they probably would go through. And they might go into that Arsenal game going, Bayern Munich's in the semi, or Real Madrid's in the... I know I might be overthinking it, but you know what I mean?
It.
But I don't believe City have the same squad depth they've had in recent years. So
true.
I also hope that maybe fatigue kicks in for a couple of them, or maybe,
that's the big thing.
Yeah,
fatigue. Maybe no matter how it goes, win, lose or draw, that run is just far too taxing, and they go into that Arsenal game, and hopefully we're still in our don't lose this game position.
And Pep very rarely plays the same team 3 times in a row.
Yeah, he always rotates. You've seen Kevin De Bruyne on the bench quite a bit. Yeah,
and that's not to say they won't still be strong having rotated, because Man City have a strong squad.
Yeah,
but they're not as strong as they've been in the past few years. That's for sure. So, I mean, you can look at it any which way. Like I said at the beginning, we're trying to make the best of a bad situation with us going out of Europa. And come the time, we might be right. Come the time, we might be wrong. You might be right in terms of how City are feeling. If they get knocked out, it's all eyes on the league. If they go through, nothing can stop us. Time will tell.
Time will tell. What's the chat saying?
Jew 1, I've just remembered, I fan cammed him yesterday. Sorry, he had a great fan cam as well. 18-year-old, speaks very well. He came from Leeds, and there was no trains, so he couldn't get home. So he replied to a super chat that he sent earlier. He sent one just a second ago saying he bigging us the whole panel up. He said, I got a hotel from yesterday night. So I said, where are you gonna stay? And he got a hotel. So I'm sorry you got to watch a bad performance from Arsenal, but at least you're safe and well. So big you up as well. And check out his fan cams on the channel. Adiaz says Jorginho was class yesterday, but Partey is levels.
The class is a bit too far for me. I thought Jorginho was quite good. I thought he did fine. He was doing his job for me. I thought, but when Partey comes on, he's just a different level of recovery. We press better when Partey's in the team. There's just no question. But Jorginho's absolutely fine when it comes to.
I think they was all poor.
So do I.
I just think all round.
Rob Holding was his standout.
I'm not gonna pick out players, and you know how a lot of people are picking out Vieira and so on. I think they was all shit. If I'm honest with you, I think it was a poor all-round performance, and the changes didn't really make much of a difference in that second half. Yes, in extra time we were the better team, and that's probably where we created our best chances over the whole 2 legs. But in general, especially that second half, listen, they had us in midfield for the whole game, up until extra time, where it seemed like their tactic was to soak it up and go for penalties.
Yeah, you're right.
Big Ash with a super chat says City will be gutted. Arsenal only have the Premier League to focus on while they still have tough Champions League ties and FA Cup games. We now give ourselves the best chance.
I don't know if gutter's the word, so I'm being so pedantic. I just think Man City fans aren't sitting there thinking, "Oh, we're gutted. We're in the Champions League." They would rather Arsenal had more games to play in Europa. 100% they would have rather that. But I don't think they'll be looking at their situation and going, "Oh, wish we had theirs." Honestly, I wonder. You know how City have dropped kind of silly points throughout the season at times. They've not looked at their best in the Premier League. I wonder if that's because they're so good. They're still right up there and right behind us, and we've been brilliant this season. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of how the Premier League's been our priority, and the Europa League, when we've fielded our best 11, it's not been horrendous, but it's also not been good to the levels that we've seen that competition. I kind of wonder whether the Champions League is where you're seeing the most reinvigorated, most what's the word? Inspiring, exciting Man City. And in the league, there's just still that little bit of, but we know that's the one that we haven't got yet. I don't know. Probably not, because I think they're too professional for that. But I wonder if there's a little bit of that.
Haaland hasn't got a league title. And he wants to break the record in the league as well.
Well, he's doing quite well at that, isn't he?
Doing very well at that.
Motivation
Was
there.
he on 62 goals or something? It's unbelievable.
I don't know how many he's
I don't know what he's on. I don't want to
27 in the league.
Yeah, check that out. But
he became the 3rd player to score 5 in a Champions League game the other day.
That game, that was like, it literally was like FIFA. And in the greatest competition, Champions League.
Done it in the quickest time as well.
28 goals in 26 Premier League games, 39 goals in 36 games in all competitions. What a
robot! He's a robot. He needs malfunctioning.
And he's still young.
What a joke.
Yeah, he needs.
What is he? 23, 20?
What is he? 23.
22.
Oh Lord, have mercy on our souls. Name says if this is a comment here. He says if they beaten Bayern, they have to play Chelsea or Madrid. Now James wasn't saying that. He was very right in saying he's thinking about the tie that we have against them. If they go through to Bayern or beat Bayern, I didn't think of it like that. They'll be galvanised for the game. They'll be on high spirits. So that's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, or they're out and they are like, well, that's it. It's just the league to go for.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we've gone through. We've gone through being knocked out the Europa League, and now a lot of the fan base is saying, well, we just focus now on the league. That's kind of the mindset that they would have if they get knocked out. Or, which I want us to go through against Sporting, because that galvanises the team to just keep them in good spirits around the camp. But either way, I think you make a very good point there. Miles Smith with a super chat says, what if City get knocked out of the Champions League and the FA Cup? They'll be gunning for us when we play. I mean,
there's a lot of what ifs still.
There is a lot of what ifs.
So many what ifs.
But this is football. This is looking at
First
every
things
angle.
first, we need to bounce back.
Yeah, we got to beat
Because if
Palace.
we drop points against Palace and it's off the back of going out in the Europa, then the international break is going to be a long international break.
Yeah, I hear that.
Mentally for us Arsenal fans too, a lot more doubts creeping in. The best thing we can hope for, we smoke Palace, something we haven't done in a long time in the Emirates especially.
What score prediction have you gone for just for that game?
I went 3-1, but I can see a 4-0.
And you went
4-0.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
You guys.
What did you say? Sorry.
I said 3-1 because I've been saying that, but then now Vieira's been sacked, I can see a 4-0 because I feel like Vieira had the players on side.
Yeah,
and you know, when you look at their run of 12 games without a win now, aside from the Tottenham one, it's all tight. 1-0, 0-0s, 1-1s, 2-1s, and defensively it seemed like his unit was still staying strong. It's the attack that was letting him down. So I think that you know, it could all unravel for them, if I'm honest.
It could unravel, it could go the other way. They could have they've got good players. They could have freedom to go and do what they want to do and play the way they just with freedom. They're the sort of players that will thrive from that. Trust me, they're those sort of players, the Wilfried Zaha's, the Elise's, letting them just play how they want. It could go the other way, but I predict 2-1. I just want to get your score predictions because I want to know how everyone is feeling confidence-wise for that game.
Well, we're going to get everyone's thoughts now. So we'll open the lines to FANZONE. So we're going to take super chat. While we do, I just want everyone's predictions on a Champions League and Europa League winner. I know we've been talking about it, so I'm just curious. Not that we care too much, but a prediction and who you want to win the Champions League.
Prediction: Man City. Who I want?
Real Madrid.
Bayern or Real? No, Napoli.
Interesting.
Prediction. I actually think City will do it. If City or Real Madrid will do it, and again, I want Real Madrid to do it again. Yeah.
I'd like Napoli because Napoli just, again, similar to us, they deserve something this season, and obviously their league is pretty much wrapped up. But it'd be nice for an underdog to go and do it in the Champions League too.
Actually, I'm gonna change it. AC Milan.
We've all gone for Italian club. I want Inter just because my cousin are all Inter Milan fans, and it's good to see Inter back up there. Kind of after they won the Champions League, Mourinho left. They haven't really been able to do anything in Europe. Lost a Europa League final a couple of years ago with Conte, but. Yeah, I'd like Inter Milan to do well. Otherwise, yeah, I like what Napoli are doing. And you're right, a team that's performing at that level, that calibre in their league, you want it to reflect on Europe, which is why I was disappointed Arsenal didn't show Europe. Okay, it's the Europa League, but every time Atletico dropped into Europa League under Simeone, what did they do? They won the damn thing. Yeah. So that's where I'm disappointed. Yeah. I think it's going to be. I'm looking at that trio of Real Madrid, Bayern, Man City. I kind of think the winner of the City-Bayern tie goes through. Who wins that?
It's hard to say.
Everyone's saying Bayern aren't all that, but I promise there's people in the Bayern chat saying that about City. Going, no, they're not City of old. So
Bayern are not the attacking force of old, but to go through, what is it, 3-0 on aggregate against PSG? Was it that?
Yeah, you're right.
2-0. That's
they got Mane there.
Yeah,
they got Mane. They got Sane.
Bayern are going to win it.
I want AC Milan. Mine's really small and petty, but
would you mind if City won it?
I'd mind because it just adds another
trophy to their cabinet in there.
It adds the one we don't have to another club in England.
Yeah,
so it's more shit to hear from opposition fans.
That's it. It's we haven't won a Champions League, so I don't want them to win it for that reason. But if
they win, are you thinking that Arsenal will do the prep?
No, not even that. No, just forgetting that for a second. A little bit like the Messi winning the World Cup thing, although it's different because he never won it and then he did. But I would like Guardiola to win one more Champions League because I think people use that against him, and I'm like, stop denying this guy's one of the greatest managers ever. Yeah. So I'd like him to win another Champions League, but not with City.
Can I just, before we move on, just AC Milan thing. The only reason why I changed my mind to AC Milan is just so petty, but this is just me. It's a little thing. I really liked Giroud's interview after he knocked out Tottenham, and just the way he was just confident. Him and Thierry had a bit of banter. I really enjoyed it, and I was like, fair play, and they're underdogs as well. And
you've seen the run Tottenham. Granted, wouldn't it be Tottenham would have had Napoli. That I know Napoli are brilliant, and they probably would have lost, but it's not.
They would have got smoked by Napoli.
They would have, but it's not like Real Madrid or Bayern where there's European heritage.
Yeah, I get that.
I get that. Recent. You get what I mean. And then Benfica or Inter, and then the FA Cup tie they would have had a home draw. Tottenham, man, they blew it with some of the draws they could have had, but. Anyway,
it is what it is.
Yeah, well, we're not shedding a tear for them. All right,
headphones on.
Get the headphones.
Who are we speaking to today? Who's in the fan zone? All you got to do is go onto AFTV Plus app, click onto the fan zone. You can join us. Topics. I'm assuming we'll be talking about what our exit from the Europa League and how the fans are feeling, and then looking ahead for Palace come Sunday.
We've got a fan on, and you're there talking.
Honestly, just
apologies, mate.
Faddy, how are you?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Good.
How's everybody doing?
Could be better, but here we are.
What an answer.
Well, I'm honest, innit? I want you to say, "Oh, I'm good." Yeah, yeah.
I am good. I'm good.
I have to, you know,
Say that again, Fadi.
I have to ask just to make sure if everybody's doing okay.
No, I understand that. I understand that. How
Yeah.
are you doing?
Oh man, it was a tough night last night. You know, I was finding it hard to sleep. Every time I was close my eyes, I would remember that goal that we conceded.
Yeah, I think Cecil done the same thing.
I was like, close my eyes. I'm like, oh, he hit it, and just kind of watching the trajectory of the ball. I'm like, please escape. Don't make it in. And one thing that I want to take away from that game is that it seemed like nothing was going our way, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but when they did the coin toss for the penalties, I don't know if you guys noticed, they did 2 coin tosses and we lost both of them.
Yep.
And I'm like, it just doesn't seem like our day. And then when they made the 2 saves from Gabriel's headers, I'm like, okay, it's just not our day. So my only hope is that the bad luck, that's it for that game, and then we can have some good luck on our side when it comes to the Premier League games. But I don't think there's any silver linings to take from this game at the moment. But if we're talking in May and we've won the Premier League, then we can say, we're glad that we got knocked out so we could focus on the Premier League. But
Yeah,
until we win the Premier League, I don't think this looks good on for the team.
No, Fadi, I think we all agree with that. Absolutely. I think you summed it up really well, that the final outcome will determine ultimately how we reflect on that night. You were talking about luck, and the good thing about a Premier League campaign and over 38 games is you get luck within games. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. But largely over a season, I know it's not an exact science that evens itself out, but you tend to not look back and go, they were a refereeing decision denied so-and-so, a Premier League title or whatever. But I do also think you earn your own luck, because that performance in that second half especially was really, really bad. So the thing I wanted to ask you is, do you think the players, no matter what the instructions are, do you think they were just playing with this sense of, I'm protecting myself a little bit for the main event on the weekend?
I wouldn't say that. I think what you have to take into account is we made a substitution. We made 3 substitutions before the second half started. Offensive substitutions were forced, and I wouldn't say they impacted ability, but Jesus coming off, I feel like that may have impacted how we came out of the second half. Not to kind of take anything away from Trossard, but I think they were building rhythm with Jesus and how he was playing, and I think he was our best player in that first half. So kind of losing him right away, it kind of gave momentum back to Sporting, because I feel like they started the first half really well too, and similarly to how they started the second half. And I would have liked us to kind of maybe try out Jesus for like the 55th minute, just so that maybe we would have gotten the second half off to a good start, because I think that was kind of a sign of bad things to come, because we just lost control of a game that we had kind of captured the momentum after we scored the first goal.
Yeah, maybe. I think they just wanted to get that substitution in, obviously with his fitness and stuff. But yeah. I hear your point. Fadi, fantastic. Oh no, go on. Sorry, go on. Make your final point.
I mentioned that they had already lost the 2 substitution windows, and that they could only make 1 substitution. They only had 1 substitution window, so I understand, but it was very unfortunate.
Yeah, it definitely was. Fadi, a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. It's interesting what you were saying there. About taking off Jesus.
Wilson, how you doing?
Hey Wilson.
I'm good. I have to say, I'm still absolutely gutted from yesterday. Absolutely gutted. It would have been nice to be in 2 competitions. It's not meant to be. I felt that we were unlucky at times. We had a few chances. However, some of our players were poor. Martinelli was poor. Nelson was poor. There's been a few other players in our team were poor as well. But Ramsdale, He had a mixed night, didn't he? He had a
Yeah.
mixed night. The goal we conceded, there's not much he could have done. It was a great goal by Sporting.
Yeah.
It's in some of the penalty shootouts, he really should have saved some of them. There was some of the shots that were close to Ramsdale's side. He could have saved some of them. Gutted that we're out, but at the same time, we've got the league to play for now. We're still in a very good position. I feel like the Palace game will give us an opportunity to bounce back. Remember, every defeat or draw we've had, we bounced back really well this season.
True.
And we've shown a lot of character as well. That's what we need in this title race. I feel like the title is Arsenal's to lose completely.
Yeah.
It's probably easier to say who had a good game rather than poor, because in my opinion, aside from Gabriel and Holding, I can't name another player that stood out for me over the 120 minutes. I know Jesus had his moments in the first half, but I wasn't expecting much considering it's his first start in how long. But it was poor all round, and I know you used the word unlucky. The last caller, Fadi, said, you know, bad luck. I don't put it down to luck. I more so agree to James.
Make your luck.
You make your own luck, and you look at the two legs. We didn't deserve to go through, and that's the bottom line. Tactically, in the second half, they came out a lot better than us. They came out a lot more hungry than us. They had to fight back from a goal down, and with Ramsdale, I mean, I look at the goal halfway line, and when you see a goal go in like that, if you hear a goal's been scored from the halfway line, you're always going to look at the keeper. I've watched it over and over again, and I want to say something that he's done wrong, but it was just such a sweet strike.
Unbelievable.
You know, I'm struggling to maybe he should have gone with the other hand. Maybe he should have been quicker off the mark in running back. I'm not too sure, but he made a great save with his face a couple minutes after that. Was it a couple minutes after?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So you know that kept us in it until extra time. But you're right about the penalty shootout. I mean, it just felt like to me with Ramsdale during the penalties, he was waiting for the ball to be struck rather than pre-thinking where it's gonna go and taking that risk. So by the time the ball's been struck, even if it's not in the corner, you've got less chance of making it. Even though there was a couple that even though he waited, he was very close to him. Really, he should have saved. Yeah, that penalty shootout was like, I spoke to James earlier and I said next penalty shootout we have, if it's to come in the near future, I'll be looking at bringing whoever our reserve keeper is off the bench for that one, because it was a poor showing.
Yeah, I agree. Wilson, final thoughts. Are we going to beat Palace on Sunday? Confident we'll respond?
If I'm honest, we've got the character and resilience. For that, we will beat Crystal Palace. And my prediction for that game, 2-0 Arsenal.
Love it.
I feel like Jesus is due a goal.
He really is.
He really is, because he's trying so hard and everything. It's just every time he does it, the goalkeeper save it. And I watched it on telly last night, and I was like, for God's sake, man, when is he going to get a goal? That's what I felt last night.
Deserves one. He deserves one. Wilson, absolute pleasure chatting to you. We're gonna get Michael on now. Michael, how you doing?
Great, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Didn't get to hear from you yesterday, but we're having all sorts of problems on FanZone, so we're really interested to get your thoughts on last night and looking ahead.
Well, I'm tired of hearing about the Europa League like it's silverware. So is the League Cup. So is the Dubai Cup. So is the Community Shield.
Michael, come on. They're not the same level.
No, I mean it. No. What we are experiencing is a hangover from previous seasons when we were lingering between 5th and 8th, and the Europa League really was our only path into the Champions League. And this season, we're in the Champions League. So whether we beat Sporting or Union or Real Betis, these are all just exhibition games at this point. I would rather lose to Sporting and get one extra corner kick against Crystal Palace than the other way around.
I can't believe that's your comparison. One extra corner kick, then get the touch.
Extra corner kick I would take over because it's like the old WC Fields line, like first prize a week in Philadelphia, second prize 2 weeks in Philadelphia. That if we had beaten Sporting in penalties, the penalty for us would have been exposing our first team to another 120 minutes worth of potential injury. And I don't want to see that. I'm perfectly happy now that we've got 11 cup finals lined up with a clear path to what we need to do. That's all I care about.
Are you not worried about the pressure from that, for the players, us as players, the fans, the team? That this is all goes down now to the Premier League instead of being in a cup competition where, me personally, I want to see a European title. I haven't seen that Arsenal Football Club, so I could never compare them to the Florida Cup.
You're saying European title? Would you be saying that about the Conference League Cup or whatever that is?
I'll be honest. I would.
Oh, come on!
It's not to the level of obviously a Europa League or a Champions League, but
no. But you see, you guys are not. You're not adjusting your expectations. We are now playing about 5 or 6 places above where we thought we would be in the league at this time. And if we were still in that old position, all this Europa League stuff would mean a lot. So would the FA Cup. But all that stuff is just a distraction now compared to the clear imperative to get as many points out of the next 11 league matches as possible.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
Okay, Michael, just quickly.
So I hear what you're saying. I don't. The Europa League's not nothing to me. I'm with Cecil. I'd like to have seen us go, have a real good go at it. If we win it, I'd be very happy. But I do get exactly what you're saying. There's a level that Arsenal have hit this season in terms of expectation. Now we are talking as title challengers. We're talking about leaders of this title race, 5 points clear. I get it. There's bigger fish to fry. The problem is you don't want to come out the season with nothing. Fish fried at all.
That was my next question.
Yeah, but are you disappointed then that Partey and Odegaard didn't start against Sporting?
No, it's a fair point. No, I wasn't disappointed. So yeah, it's a fair point.
Then if you're not disappointed, then don't be disappointed by the outcome when we've got Fabio Vieira and Jorginho playing.
But I think they're good enough to deliver a lot more than what we saw from them yesterday. So I actually thought Jorginho played okay, but this is what I mean, that I think Arteta actually struck the balance okay. There was an 11 out there that was still pretty strong, but he rotated in some key areas, and that disappointed me, that the level dropped so much that we got a second half that was, as bad as we've seen all season, to be honest.
All right, so we're just repeating what we've been saying all season about how we need more depth, right?
Yeah, to a degree.
I think we have the depth now. I agree. I just think that quality on the pitch should have been able to get the job done. They were abysmal last night.
I think it was a mentality thing more than ever. I really think if we were in if Man United and Arsenal swap positions in the league and we're 16 points off top, I think we go through against Sporting. I think we beat them, and I think we play really well, personally.
Yeah, and I would regret that, because that means we've got a lot more tired bodies going into the running in the league.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I hear that.
I'll be very brutal about that.
Yeah.
I just can't leave this.
Right.
Can
I make one quick point before Shakespeare?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Shakespeare.
If we're going to indulge in all this complicated speculation about City's state of mind, we should not forget what we were obsessed with a month ago, which is the fact that City is now facing absolute catastrophe over the next few seasons because of the financial fair play blowout. Now, we're not hearing anything more from the FA about exactly how much trouble City are in, but if we're going to be imagining what kind of upset and distraction is going on in City, we should be looking at the players who are looking for a way out of City over the next few seasons. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I don't think we should forget that as a much more important factor than whether they're playing Bayern or Real in the next, in the next Champions League round.
Yeah, but I know what's been allegedly, put at City and all that, and I just don't trust. I'm not putting any. I don't want to say hope in that outcome. I don't really know what I want to happen from that, because I haven't really studied it well enough and all that. But if they are found to have done wrong, I also don't necessarily trust that they're going to, come up with a fair punishment, to be honest. So I'm not really worrying or thinking about that too much.
Yeah, but I think it's going to have a corrosive effect.
Maybe.
I don't think Pep's going to stay. I don't think they're going to have the same kind of swagger that they had before. No, I don't think so.
Maybe. You got some Shakespeare.
Okay. Here feel we not the penalty of Adam, as the icy fang and the churlish chiding of the winter's wind blows upon my body. I smile and say, "This is no flattery. Come on, you Gunners."
Love it. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very
Okay.
much. That's
Talk to you
interesting.
later.
That was the one you read out to us before Forever Arsenal.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
that
I think
mad?
it was, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I like a bit of Shakespeare.
No, look at me, he actually believes you.
Oh, bro.
It's a replay, Cecil. It's a
real.
replay.
Sorry.
Oh,
no.
my days. I thought that was real. Does he do?
Is tomorrow your day off, yeah?
Yeah.
Just relax.
Yeah, I
just
need
take
to
it easy.
I
Take
need
a
to have
day
a sleep,
off.
boy,
Take a
because-
day
Got
off.
another caller, I believe. Albert? You there, Albert?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi,
hear me?
Albert.
Yeah,
yes, all loud and clear.
What's going
Just quickly, E. Ross with a super chat says there was no excuse at all not to win last night. Albert, what was your thoughts on last night's performance? Was there no excuses for you? Was it just a bad day, or was there mitigating
I think
circumstances?
it was just a bad day. I don't know about mitigating circumstances. I think Arteta's man management was perfect. I think it was what we needed. We obviously didn't want to overplay our hand, but we want to play a strong team because we wanted to go far. Am I disappointed? Yes, of course. Do I think we played poorly to our standards that we set this season? Yes, of course. But I mean, a freak goal, a goalkeeper masterclass, and I mean, Ramsdale's 24. I don't know how many penalty shootouts of this kind of magnitude he's been in so far. So I mean, I think we also kind of, the next one, he's gonna obviously learn from his mistakes. I mean, and hopefully we'll be in the Champions League. I mean, we are going to be in the Champions League, but in a deeper, more monumental round, hopefully in the quarters or semis. Hopefully we don't have to go to penalties in any of competitions, but I think we're being a little bit too hard, but we can also look to the future and just kind of take the mentality that we maybe didn't bring to the Europa, to the Champions League.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
You have to learn from it and use the pain as motivation. That's how I see it. I towards the end of last season when we missed out on top 4, and then I saw I've been seeing what we've done this season. I believe some of that pain from bottling it and losing out to Tottenham at that was motivation for us, and gave Arteta some kind of ammunition in the dressing room to say this can't happen again.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you think we're going to beat Palace on Sunday? Confident that we'll get a response?
Confident. New manager bounce is always the scariest thing in the world. But I do think that we'll scrape a result. I don't think it'd be convincing, but I think, a narrow 2-0, 1-0, 2-1, I think that'll do the job and just leave us off into the international break just fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Albert, absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Albert.
Likewise.
Before we go to the next caller, it's all over the timeline. Bukayo Saka was FaceTiming the Kardashian family, apparently. I think today, or no, it can't have been last night after the game. Must have been today. She's apparently posted it on her Instagram story, and I think Saka was chatting to their kids who are Arsenal fans. So there we go. He's becoming a global superstar, Bukayo Saka.
He is. When he scored his penalty, they cut it straight to Kim Kardashian. That's the first time they cut. Yeah, as soon as he scored his penalty, they went straight to they went to Kim Kardashian in the executive suite. So in the box. So yeah, that was interesting to see.
He's a they use the word franchise player, but like he is the face for me of this Arsenal group, and the way. As things were going so badly, he was the young player that was seemingly getting us through. And now here he is hitting the numbers he's hitting this season. He's on course to match Sane and Ronaldo's 25 goals and assists in a calendar year in the Premier League. And I know these things, that they're not football related, so ultimately we don't care. But I've always said that the way Arsenal are viewed as a brand and as a fashion and as those kind of things, I do think they matter to a slight degree. Like I do think they play a part in the attractiveness of the club. We're in North London. We're in London. The red and white, the history of the club. The players we can attract, those kind of things.
As long as it's used in the right way, yeah.
I care about these things.
Not manipulated and and sucked dry like it has been in the past.
Yeah, like, listen, Saka's, it's not just this season. Let's not forget he's been player of the season, I think, twice in a row for Arsenal. And he is, for the younger generation, someone they admire and look up to and role model. I grew up watching Thierry Henry, and Arsenal was that. I was going through looking at him thinking, wow, that's how the people look at Saka of the younger years now. And I love to see that. I love all this involvement in him being kind of that player that stands out and is carrying commercially, the change in Arsenal, and I love it. I honestly, all more power to him. He's my favourite player at the moment. Anyway, so yeah, no, I'm all of this. I think he's got a very good heart as well. It just adds to his personality.
I don't question his mentality or whether other outside things would ever distract him or anything like that. He's a class act. But yeah, the Kardashians are Arsenal fans. Who have we got next? Apologies. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, James. How are you doing? Triple threat tonight. How are we, boys? You okay?
Yes, bro. You good?
Yeah, you got all three of us.
Special night tonight. We're all here. No, we're okay.
Not too bad. Not too bad. I haven't really thought about last night much. It's almost like, you have a night out and then the next day it's just a blur of like, did that really happen? Did we really have a banger scored against us and all of that business? Did we really go out on penalties? It's just all of that business. I've just been very tired. I don't think it's one of those defeats that's going to stay for long though, because now it's just like, I want the next game to happen. I want Crystal Palace to come. I really just want us to do, did I say this yesterday? I just want us to destroy Palace. I want us to literally destroy Palace. Love Palace, good team, this, that and the other. Sad for Vieira, but I just want to destroy them now. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
that's what's needed.
I agree. I think we will. And you've been doing Forever Arsenal with me for nearly 3 years now. Well, no, that's exact. Probably two and a half years, and I've never really been out there with my score predictions.
Yeah.
And I've on today's one, I said,
couldn't believe it.
I think we're going to respond. I'm going 4-0 Arsenal. I think we're going to have a big. Normally, I do the whole tentative thing because I never write anyone off. And I've actually, and we said on the preview recorded earlier, coming out soon. It's not that I'm writing off Palace. You said it yourself. If you look at their recent results, they've not been leaking goals. They're not a mess or a shambles. They didn't stop playing for Vieira. I just think it's more a reflection on Arsenal. And it's going to be more reflection on what Arsenal want to do. A bit like Fulham. Fulham, no mugs. They went into it on good form. Going to be a tough game. But when Arsenal do their thing, you can't live with them. Scored 3 against Spurs, scored 3 against Liverpool, destroyed Chelsea, scored 3 against United. When Arsenal are in that kind of goal-scoring form, I don't think you can live with them. And I'm hoping that the Emirates crowd and the players on the pitch and Arteta are going to be really ready to respond.
Dini, you're not worried about the home form from Arsenal of recent?
No, I'm not, because even though we are leaking goals, for this last bit of the season, I'm just like, get me that Premier League. If we win 5-4 every game for the rest of the season, I could not care less. I will start looking at it next season. Do you know what I mean? That's like, now we need to be tapped. But right now, just get that Premier League under our belts. Do you know what I mean? Let's just get it done. Let's not have the banter at the end of the season where we finish second we played brilliant football, but we've got nothing to show for it. Let's get it done. And I feel like I understand the mentality and the pressure, but I feel like I said this to you, James and Frank, after the Man City game. It's like we have to find the winning mentality now. Obviously, we haven't found it as a team because we haven't found it. So if we just need to find it in these moments, these are the moments that make the teams, that make the champions. And if we want to be champions going into the future, then Crystal Palace, win that game, win the rest of your games if you have to. Do you know what I mean? Let's just do it.
Yeah, there is a winning. You say there's not a winning mentality, but like obviously the last winner.
No. I'm saying like in terms of like champions winning mentality. Like after Man City, it was a thing of, are we gonna find that mentality? How are we gonna get over that hurdle? Now we need to really push forward. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because we have been winning this season. We have been winning, but we're not Man City mentality right now. But we need to work to that. And the way to work to that is bounce back, beat Palace, come back after the international break, beat Leeds, keep going, keep building.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a winner's medal for having been top the longest in the season. You get it for purely that final tally at the end, and I think that's what you're alluding to. It is the relentless nature. 11 games doesn't sound like that much to a degree. It is also a long way to go, and it's 33 points up for grabs. And yeah, that's where Arsenal need to show relentless nature. I know you're right. Up till now, we have shown a winning mentality with late goals and how we've come through Villa, Bournemouth, and all that. That's great. but the champions are the ones that have done it all year. They've literally or for 35 of the 38 games, and we've done it. I'd say 24 of the 27. You know what I mean? Even in games we've.
And Jay, I'm sorry to cut you, but if you're talking about pressure now, what do you think the pressure is going to be like when we're fighting for the Premier League and the Champions League and the FA Cup? All of that, like, if you want to be the best,
which is what we want, yeah.
This is what we want, so we have to handle it.
Yeah.
Have to.
Deanie, pleasure to chat.
Cheers,
Thank you
buddy.
so much.
Nice one, bro.
Thank you, boys.
Wicked.
Enjoy your Friday.
There is a super chat here from Reds Forever says, if you don't win the Prem, is it still a good season? This is going to be the main question
I'll
around
let you take
everyone's
that
lips.
first.
This is why I don't like these questions now, because
Nor
I
do
don't even
I.
want to entertain it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't-
nor do I.
right now, I want to see what we come out with. Then ask me that question, because I know how I'm going to feel if we don't win anything. I know how I'm going to feel. But let's just see what comes. Give it a couple weeks after, whether the Premier League comes or it doesn't come, and then ask me how I'm feeling about the season. Because overall, it's been entertaining. That's for sure. That's a given. It's been one of the most positive seasons we've had in a long time. But Arsenal should always be winning stuff, and yes, we've been far off the league in recent years, but now we've been knocked out of every cup competition. In my opinion, we had a chance of winning the Premier League now with 5 points clear, potential to make it 8 points clear. It's a very likely possibility. I just don't want to entertain how I'm feeling if it doesn't happen right now.
I'll answer it because Turkish is spot on. But I think for me, and obviously I'm assuming there's no great collapse, so we don't fall to third or something.
Yeah.
Which listen, could happen. But I'm going on the assumption that they're basically saying, if we finish second this season,
How are you going to feel?
how are we going to feel? I'm going to feel, yes, very disappointed that we didn't come out with silverware. Very disappointed we didn't win the title. But is it a good season? I think the answer is yes. Is it a successful season? No, it's not. Success is winning things. That's why if we finish second and United finish fourth, they've had a more successful season. They won the Carabao Cup. They got top four like we did.
I disagree, because the Carabao Cup is a joke.
Yeah, but
really,
If FA Cup and Europa, I get that. I'll give them that. But the Carabao Cup, for me, I don't give a shit about it.
Okay,
but we got the same outcome.
But the sentiment of trophy and ultimately
Trophy,
finishing
yeah.
in Europe,
It's going to be a clash between it's the taking part that counts people, and winning is everything people.
Yes.
And I'm more of the winning is everything, taking part and all that nonsense.
I hear that.
That's a good way to look at it. Though. That's very low.
I think I'd be worried about that if I didn't have real confidence that this team could go again next year. If it were a bit like,
This was a fluke season.
yeah, if it was a bit of a fluke season, and I was thinking, we're not playing that well, but we're top of the league. Like, none of the teams are that good, are they? But we're playing at the points level that City and Liverpool were hitting the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That's where I just think we can sustain this over 3-4 years, hopefully, but we will see. All right, we've got a final caller. It's Harvey joining us. I haven't spoken to Harvey in a while. Harvey, good to see you, man.
Yes.
Hey, good to see you guys again. How y'all doing?
Yeah, good. I'm actually really interested to hear your take, because I know that the Europa League was one that you didn't love it. I think it's a fair way to put it. So how are you feeling last night, and what's your reflection on it for the rest of the season?
Yeah, my friends are trying to banter me in the group chat, and I was celebrating, so that tells you everything.
You don't? Wow, you don't care about that much, Harvey.
Of course not. I'm still pissed off that we dropped 2 points against Southampton when he played a strong side against PSV. I'm still pissed off about that, because I would kill for those 2 points right now. So I haven't forgotten about that.
That is yeah, very interesting, as James just mentioned, because I guess I don't know if I stand alone here, but I thought the next morning I would have cleared away my emotions and my feelings. I spoke with fans yesterday, and they said, Cecil, like I mentioned before, focus on Premier League, but I'm still hurt by it. I've mentioned it many times on the show already, but you just completely didn't care about the Europa League, even getting knocked out in the round of 16 when we could have potentially been on course for a double. Do you think it really was a hindrance, Arsenal being in the Europa League?
Of course.
Wow.
I mean, listen, I wish we could have gone a bit further, but mostly I just wanted to see the second team play, give them minutes, because they deserve to get some minutes.
Yeah.
But if we're playing 7 of our starters, then no, I'd rather just see us get out. And then the reality is, guys, that if you want to be going for the double or all these things, as you allude to, you should be able to be in a position where you play your second team against Sporting Lisbon and see it through. And if you can't do that, then clearly you don't have the quality and depth that you need to go ahead and compete on a lot of fronts. You don't. And then listen, I want to ask you guys a question to put this Europa League, no, it's a real trophy, blah, 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 in perspective. Zinedine Zidane, who's won, 3-4 Champions Leagues, where do you think his next managerial job is going to be if it's not Real Madrid? What kind of level of club do you think he's going to be going to?
Yeah, Champions
Anybody want to
League.
just shout out?
Champions League.
Right?
Okay.
It's going Crystal Palace, sir.
Well, Unai Emery, who won 3 Europa Leagues, where's he coaching?
Yeah. Fair.
So this prestigious trophy, if Zinedine Zidane wouldn't be looking at Aston Villa or Crystal Palace or Wolves, and yet we want to pretend like it's this prestigious trophy. Unai Emery's won it 4 times, and he's in Aston Villa. So
I just don't turn my nose up. I don't turn my nose up at trophies.
I don't fully agree, but you're making a very compelling argument.
It's a good argument.
I kind of get what you're saying.
It is a good argument.
Where are you on this? Because I know you're disappointed about the trophy, that the potential lack of trophy thing, but I also know that you don't rate the Europa really.
Yeah, with Europa, listen, I'm gutted that we dropped in it. I'm gutted that we've been in it for this long. My thing is, we should have won it in the years that we have been in it, because we're Arsenal, and yes, we haven't been the Arsenal that I grew up on, but I believe we've had enough to win it over the years, semi-final, final, and a few last 16s here and there. But I'm not going to look back at this period and say, fuck, we missed out on a Europa League. I don't care too much. And like I said, if we win the Premier League, then I don't give a shit about this. But if we don't win the Premier League, then I am going to look back at this and say, well, this season deserves something. And, in the FA Cup, we got knocked out to City. That can happen whether you play your strongest team or not. In the Europa League, we got knocked out to Sporting. I believe we are the better team. Yeah. They was the better team over the 2 legs. So I'm going to more look back at this than the FA Cup and say that was a big chance we missed in terms of bringing a trophy home in a season where we've made so much progress.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Harvey?
You want to know what's interesting is that and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I recall us actually having a more rotated side against City away than we did against Sporting at home.
I think wasn't it 6 changes in each though?
Yeah, you're right.
We were definitely more rotated.
No, he's right. We had Tomiyasu holding, Vieira, they came in. Trossard wasn't a regular at the time. He came in. Turner played at the Etihad. You're right. We went stronger because really the only other players would have been White, Partey, and Saka would have been the only ones really missing from starting 11 against Sporting. So yeah, and we played better.
I love Mikel, and I've been supporting him since day one. And even through those difficult periods, I always had his back, and you know that, James. We've spoken multiple times about it in the spaces. But this is something that baffles me because when I looked at it, I was like, you know what? We have a proper chance of going for a real double, not this Europa League Mickey Mouse crap. A real double, the Premier League and the FA Cup. Because when you have an FA Cup fixture, your Premier League fixture gets rescheduled, and you don't have to deal with the fatigue. We abandoned the FA Cup and gave the game away to City, but now we're playing our starters against Sporting Lisbon, PSV away. For what? Risking dropping points in the Premier League. And when I look at our run against City, in terms of the league and the remaining 11 games, we have the tougher fixtures. So I'm looking at what advantages can we have over City. Oh, I see. A 7-day rest in between games, limiting our chances of injuries, and focusing 100% of our training sessions and tactics on the upcoming Premier League game. City still has to compete in the FA Cup, the Champions League, and the Premier League. Statistically speaking, we're giving ourselves the best chance to win the league by focusing solely on that. And if we were going to compete in 2 competitions, why not it be the FA Cup, which is such a historic competition for Arsenal, than a Europa League that was created a couple years ago to make a little extra quid for Eastern European countries? I mean, well, it's ridiculous. So I'm sorry, that deserves criticism. And whether we win the league or we don't win the league, I don't care. Because guess what? The same people that are upset about getting out of the Europa League today, those are going to be the same guys next year bantering Tottenham, bantering Chelsea, and all these guys who are going to be playing in that same exact competition. I'm sorry, but nobody banters an FA Cup winner. Nobody banters a Premier League winner. But we're gonna banter everybody next year about the same competition that we're all upset about getting out today. It's ridiculous. It's hypocritical. It's not lining up. It's mixed emotions for whatever reason. I don't know. But I'm glad to be out of it. I'm done with it. Thank God.
A lot I agree with, a lot I don't, but that's fair. And like I think you do make some good points. But listen, it's gone your way. It's all focused on the Premier League now. So I'll end it by asking: do you think we'll beat Palace and get the response?
Yeah, I think we would. And my thing was asking you guys a question. Those 2 points that we dropped against Southampton due to travel and jaded legs against PSV. would you take those 2 points right now if it meant that we hadn't made it out of the group stage back in the fall? Would you have taken those 2 points right now?
That's not 2 + 2 = 4 though. Huh?
Yes, this hindsight.
That's not guaranteed.
I'm not saying it was, but I remember when that was still less than 15 games into the season, and I was vexed about those 2 points, and everyone was saying I was being dramatic, but everyone would kill for 2 points right now, and a 7-point lead in the league right now, everyone would kill for.
Bro, I'd kill for the 2 points that got stolen away from us against Brentford by the referee's bad decisions. But it's all ifs and buts.
But some things are in our control, and some things aren't. At least this part it was in our control, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we just go on, and all this conversation is just irrelevant, and we have a Premier League title to lift.
It's an interesting debate. Harvey,
it actually is.
Really great chatting to you. Thanks so much for joining us. And that was our final call of the day. I hope you've enjoyed FanZone. Glad we got to do that as well, especially because we had some issues yesterday. But that was very smooth. Always great to chat to the fans. We've got some super chats just to round it off.
James Brewer's back with the super chat says, yesterday is why Pickford still is England's #1. Bit harsh, but blimey, jeez Louise.
Not even going to.
Don't buy it, it's fine. I think Ramsdale is better on most fronts.
I respect the... I don't think he's trying to troll. It's an opinion, and I respect everyone's opinions, but I just disagree. I just think...
Of course. So listen, thank you everyone that joined us as well, because there was actually some really good conversation and debates there on FanZone, and it's very easy to get involved. AFTV Plus app on iOS and Play Store. It's very simple. Download it and you can get involved, and it's all free. Guys,
that's it. Thank you, Cess. Thank you, Turkish.
Love.
But we're being talked to in our headphones. Are they?
What'd you say?
Mention all the shows that are coming out.
Oh right, production just told us to mention all the shows that are coming out. Thanks, production. There's Box to Box coming out. There's a preview. Invincibles, I think, might be out. And what else is there? Forever Arsenal is out. We did that this morning.
Correct.
And if you're joining us late on this live, you can watch it. You can go back and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. Those are all the shows. We'll catch you very soon. Many thanks.
This week, Saturday on DR Sports, we're going to be hosting a very special watch-along. It's UFC 286, and we're going to be doing a watch-along to the big fight. It is Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. You've got to come and check it out live here on DR Sports. I'm going to be hosting it with our brand new MMA host, Zaki, who'll be giving you the lowdown on the fight. Yeah, easy, bro.
You ready?
What's all this?
You said you're gonna get stuck in. We're gonna
No, I ain't signed up for that. No.
What do you mean? That's what we said we're gonna do. Okay, we'll worry about Robbie in a sec. But listen, make sure you join us on Saturday evening from 9 o'clock. UFC 286, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards, the trilogy fight. Who's gonna win? We'll find out on Saturday. Make sure you join us. Robbie, I swear we're gonna go live. I'm tapping.